All right. Well, welcome, Scott, and thank you so much for coming to do this. I know you said you last night you were just out at the Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame, and who were you out there with?
Teddy Dolan, a good friend of mine that I dirt raced with a long time ago, and then he helped me out quite a bit with my business. He got inducted last night, so turned out to be a real good time.
Okay, gotcha. Was he the only one that got inducted last night? I didn't see who was all on tab for this year.
No, there's 5 that get inducted every year.
Okay.
And don't ask me because I can't tell you the names.
No worries. I'll have to check that out. Usually I try and pay attention to that and check that out, but I hadn't this year. So no, that's
all good guys.
Yeah, right. So I think kind of where I really want to start is, what maybe even before you got into racing, or what did your childhood kind of look like? What were you doing in your earliest years?
Well, my early years was always around racing to some degree. My dad was a flagman up in central Wisconsin for, I believe, 13 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
He flagged dirt tracks, De Pere, Luxembourg, Shawano, Seymour. So he did that for all of my growing up, and so
Okay.
we chased around a lot of racetracks.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I had no clue that your dad did that. That's pretty cool. And and then did you end up going to the races right away when you were just, as early as you really could remember?
Yeah. My sister would take me, and we'd sit in the stands and watch my dad flag and watch the races. So, yeah, very early on, I started going to them. And then when he quit, that's when we decided my brother and myself and the neighborhood kids decided to dabble in it a little bit.
Okay. Did your dad ever race at all himself, or just do the flagging?
No, he raced.
Okay.
Again, I couldn't tell you where or what. I do know that I believe they went over to the Marshfield Fair one year.
Okay.
And just went over to the fair to watch the race. Ended up rolling the windows down in the car and running the car in the race, and then driving back home with it. So they did some pretty crazy deals back in the day.
Yeah. No, yeah, I would imagine. Good times back then. So then you're kind of talking about, once your dad was done flagging, you and some others started kind of wanting to dabble in it. How old were you when you started kind of thinking, hey, I'd like to get behind the wheel?
I never did. We started out building a car for my brother. I would say
Okay.
I was 16, 17 years old-ish. And like I said, a bunch of neighborhood guys, we put a car together, and we went to our first race in De Pere, and my brother ran the car and qualified the car, and he was the slowest guy out there by like minutes, not seconds, minutes. And he came in, and we asked him what was wrong, and he said the car didn't have any brakes. And I made the mistake of saying Fred Flintstone could stop the car, you're going so slow. And helmet came off and hit me in the chest, and he says, if you think it's so easy, you do it. So that's how I started.
Then how did it go for you? Were you any faster then, or
I ended up winning the heat race and the semi-feature because we started in the front row.
Okay.
And the car wasn't that bad, but it turned out it wasn't his cup of tea. He didn't really want any more to do with it than the man in the moon. So, yeah, I just took the car over from there, and it was a community thing. So it isn't like any of us had a lot of money invested. So me and the neighborhood kids took it over, and away we went.
And that was on the dirt tracks then?
Yeah, I ran about 6-7 years of dirt track. Nothing full time. Couldn't afford it. I'd run good, blow up, run good, wreck. So I'd be taking weeks off here and there to regroup. But probably 6-7 years worth. I ran dirt tracks up here.
Okay. And was it just kind of like a street stock type of car?
Late model right off. We built a late
model. Oh, a late model right off the bat.
Started out right
No
away,
kidding.
Late model. Oh yeah, we both feet right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you remember? Like, what kind of horsepower were those things? Were you jumping behind the wheel of right away back then?
I would have to say they were big block Chevrolets. I'd have to say they
Okay.
were 500-ish.
Sure.
You know, back
Okay.
then, kind of a stock one would give you that, back in the day.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Did you feel like right away, did you have, hey, I kind of got the knack for this, dirt track thing where you're sliding through the corners? I mean, yeah.
I think so. I think the coolest part was, like I said, end of the day, you went up and they actually paid you to go out there and do this. And we just, like I said, we started out 100% fun. Let's go kill some time doing something, put the cars together. And yeah, it turned into a lot more in a hurry.
Okay. Yeah. How long did it take until it was like, hey, we're gonna get pretty serious about this?
Only a couple of years. Like I said, that car we built, we struggled our way through the year with, and then Tom Stiting, from the western part of the state, I ended up buying a car from him the next year, and same deal, just kind of here or there and whatever we could do. And probably third or fourth year into it, I went and got a Pete Parker car and bought one of Pete's cars, and he had the best of the best back then. So yeah, it's a slow progression, but it worked out really good in the end.
Yeah. How did you just kind of stay in Wisconsin, or did you venture out a little bit?
I ventured out one time. I went down to Champaign, Illinois, and that car I had bought from Gene Wheeler, Appleton Auto Wrecking down there. And they used to fill their drive shafts with sand. The drive shaft, and unbeknownst to me, we burned a valve in the engine so the car would shut off and take off. Well, it broke that drive shaft and it came up through the floor. We didn't have enough drive shaft hoops back then, and that was the end of my traveling out of town for a while. I just figured I better stay home where I belonged and get more hang of it than get out there with the big guys.
Yeah. Then at what point did you end up going and racing asphalt? When did you decide to make the switch from dirt racing to asphalt?
Well, again, that wasn't my decision. That was a guy by the name of Steve Marler, owned an insurance company up in Green Bay, and he liked to wash his Mercedes-Benz on Sunday mornings, and he would always get there 10 minutes behind. Richie Waters was with me, crew chief, back in the day, and we would go to every Sunday, clean the car up in the car wash from the weekend, and Steve come walking in there and said, what is it going to take to keep you guys out of this car wash? He said, this is my getaway time. I like to come and wash my car. And Richie was never a loss for words. He said, just buy us an asphalt car, and we won't bring the dirt car back here. And he said, my office is right next door. Be there at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And 8:55, we were sitting on his doorstep, and 10 o'clock, we were at Randerson's with a car bought, brand new. And
no kidding.
Bruce Miller's by 11 o'clock with a new engine being built. And a week later, we were at Kaukauna.
So he wanted his time with his Mercedes, and he want you guys there.
I guess, yeah. Worked out perfect.
I would sure say that's fallen into some luck there. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So you guys go and do that right away. So then, I mean, had you been around asphalt stuff much or known a lot about it? Obviously, Richie's been around it a lot, but had he been involved in asphalt racing up to that point?
He started with me on the dirt.
Okay.
We went down there and we had instant success. And I don't know. I guess I would relate it to brand new car, brand new motor, brand new everything. Mike Randerson's help. Mike was a huge, huge plus to my startup and my career. So I would say that was a big part of it. But yeah, I think the first day out we had quick time and probably run second or third in the feature. And I think we ended up, there was only 4 races left in the year, and I think we ended up winning a couple of those, and then did some hardcore racing. But Richie was in everybody's ear all the time. And he convinced me to call Trickle up and ask him if we could come over and pick his brain. And that fall, winter, Dick said absolutely. And we drove over there and started asking him about setups, this and that. And he pointed to a setup book on his bench that had to be 10 inches thick. And he said, there it is. Copy whatever you need. And I think Richie wrote for 2 hours. As long as I could keep Dick talking, Richie was writing. And again, what that did for my career is priceless.
Yeah, I would imagine if Dick Trickle is going to let you go and write down some notes, those are yeah, and I don't blame him for writing down for 2-3 hours if he's writing notes that long. I'd be doing it too. Yeah. Was the first time out in that car? I imagine was that at Kaukauna then? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Started there, and I think we may have done a couple of Artco races or something that year yet, but
okay,
maybe got a half a dozen in from start to finish that year. 83 it was.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the start of your dirt late model, getting dirt racing in general, getting behind a late model right away, that's a heck of a way to start. But then, you jump into the asphalt thing and right away head to the big track in Kaukauna. What was your first kind of thoughts when you got into asphalt racing versus dirt? We
did a little bit, back then we'd take the same car and run asphalt and dirt with,
Okay.
Dick did that a lot. Just put a windshield in it and go down there. I mean, obviously we were not competitive, semi-feature type stuff, but I was able to know the facility a little bit.
Okay.
And then, like I said, having all that new stuff, and it was you can't dream up these. You can't make these things. My first asphalt ride, I was getting paid to do it. Steve owned everything. All we did was kept the car at home and maintained it. He paid all the bills, paid us to do it, and it was like, wow, this is.
Okay, so he didn't just fun get in the car and getting you guys going. I mean, he stayed with you guys.
He stayed with me. 83, all of 84. It was our first full year, and then he's backed away from it. He had some health issues and stuff, but he still stayed as a sponsor when I started owning my own stuff in 85, which was an eye-opening experience when you've never owned anything of that nature, and then you couldn't get away from it. You had pretty good success. So,
yeah. So you go and you start kind of owning your own stuff, and one of the things I'd kind of looked up and saw that you had won the championship at Kaukauna from, was it 5 years in a row from 85 to 89?
Yeah. Again, I don't know if I would have, when Steve backed away from it, I don't know if I didn't have the money to do it. And I don't know how that would have pursued on. And one day I got a phone call. Steve sold everything. So, I mean, I didn't have a nut or a bolt. I didn't have anything.
Okay, so it wasn't like you just taking on the same equipment or anything.
No, we sold everything.
Okay.
And I got a phone call that fall, late in the fall, and it was a guy by the name of Jim Warmington from Budweiser. And he said, we want to sponsor a car at Kaukauna. Are you interested? And I'm like, yeah, sure, And he says, well, we need to set up a meeting. And I'm like, okay. So I borrowed a friend's shop, borrowed a friend's race car, borrowed a friend's pickup truck. I had about 6 guys involved and brought all this stuff and put a meeting together with Budweiser.
Okay.
And, they came in there, and
I suppose you had to have something to show, like, hey, this is what we got to work with.
Well, I needed to know what they were going to talk for money to see if I could go through with it.
Okay.
And then, because again, I didn't have anything, and we got talking, and they told me what they were going to give me to do it, and I'm like, I can make this work. It was a pretty big deal back then, and I said, I've only ran asphalt 1 year. Why me? He said, well, we didn't really want you. We wanted Terry Baldry, but they had just gotten a Pepsi sponsorship.
Okay.
And the Baldrys were not partier, drinker type family.
Okay.
So, yeah, they passed, the Baldrys passed up the Budweiser deal. And I finished second in points to Terry in 84.
Okay.
So they were just going down the line.
Down the list, yeah.
And, I had them for 5 years at Kaukauna, and then they stayed with me probably another 4 or 5 years when I went down to Baker's and Gunderman's and stuff as a product sponsor. But
okay.
Turned out to be just a fabulous relationship.
Yeah, I imagine that early on in your, asphalt journey, getting a call from Budweiser. I mean, that was, like you said, it was probably a shock. Yeah, why me?
Yeah, and it wasn't just the local guy. It was the actual corporate was 50%, and then
okay.
Green Bay was 25%, Appleton was 25%, and the relationship there. I met so many people, had so much fun doing so many different things with everybody, and I can't say enough about everybody from Budweiser to the Dean family up in Green Bay and sticking behind me through a lot of years.
Yeah, what were you able to kind of, did you put together one car after they kind of came on board, or, what were you really able to kind of do when you first went off on your own?
One of the cars, or one of the guys I borrowed some stuff from, Bobby Menner from up in, he ran Norway Speedway a bunch. He was track champion up there quite a bit.
Okay.
He actually wanted to sell his stuff. So we ended up going and bought his car and all his equipment, and pretty much for the same money I got from Budweiser. So I really didn't have a lot of money to.
Yeah, I imagine that first year, kind of went through it all right away.
Went through it quick, but then Marler stayed on board and helped out for a couple of years, and we were able to put it together. We won, like you said, 5 championships in a row there at Kaukauna, and just good enough to be noticed by Terry Baker and Howie Leto and those guys. And if there was ever a huge move in my career, it was Howie Leto, obviously. Teaching me what he taught me and going down there and racing for those guys.
Yeah, obviously, I personally don't know a lot about Howie. I shouldn't say I don't know a lot about him, but I definitely the name is so well known.
Yeah.
I never had spent any time around him, and but so he was with at Baker, and I'm guessing that was with an ASA, right?
Yeah, in 1989, I ran their car in the ASA and specials, Art Code, all pro stuff, and then I continued to run my last year for Budweiser at Kaukauna. So we had a lot of back and forth. Good thing Kaukauna was Thursday night, so I could get down there and then get down with those guys and take off Friday to wherever we were going ASA racing.
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Kind of before I dive too much into the ASA stuff, when you were kind of those years, when you went and had your own car at that point, were you racing? You kind of following Artco at all a little bit too, or was it? I mean, a lot of focus just at Kaukauna.
We chased quite a few Artco races. I believe I was Rookie of the Year there. I don't know what year. Maybe the same year as ASA. Well, maybe both of them were 89-ish.
Okay.
I think I might have won Rookie of the Year in both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you for sure, but.
Sure. So then the call to go and race for Baker and ASA, how did that come around for you?
An eye-opening experience. If you ever knew Terry Baker, he was a piece of work. He was
never knew him.
Great guy, but you didn't get rich racing for Terry Baker, but you got a lot of notoriety, and I guess you can't put a price on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a very well-known team in ASA for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, what that did for my career as a stepping stone, and so many people went through there: Teddy Musgrave, Bobby Dotter, Steve Holzhausen.
Yeah.
So many guys went through there. You just couldn't help but be noticed when you were with those guys. So that just helped me move up the ladder.
So then, kind of that first year going into ASA and getting to kind of go on that journey with them, and then working with Howie Leddow. How was that first year in ASA?
Couldn't have scripted any better. I think we won our second race. Should have won our first race. The driver was asleep at the wheel on a restart with 5 laps to go or something, and got beat by Teddy Musgrave. But we came back the next week and won at Milwaukee right in our backyard. So
that had to have been a cool win and starting an ASA and then win at the Milwaukee Mile.
First big victory was right there, half a mile from the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah. Up until that, prior to that win at Milwaukee, then an ASA, what was, kind of like your single biggest win that you may have had up to that point?
I think I won an Artco race or two along the way, but nothing big came along. I'll tell you, I had a great chance to win one of the red, white, and blue races, getting back to Dick Trickle. As you know, Dick would come in, unload, no practice, fast time, go out, win this, win that. And we went there one day, and I had quick time. Dick was second. I won the dash. Dick was second. I won the 25 lapper. Dick was second. And of course, then we went to the bar, and Dick did what Dick did better than even his driving talent. He talked me right out of how good my car was. An hour into the bar, he come up to me and he's like, "Man, I just got to tell you, I got to give you more credit than obviously I would have in the beginning." And I'm like, "Wow, thanks, that's cool." He says, "For you to hang on to that car that out of control that long," and I'm like, "Wow, what?" I set my beer can down. I grabbed Richie by the ear. I said, "Man, we got to go fix this car." It's, we went home. We changed everything we could change.
It got right in your head.
It got right in my head, big time. 30 laps into the race Sunday, Trickle was lapping me, and he wouldn't just lap me. He pulled up and he stayed alongside of me for, it slowed him down a half a minute to stay alongside of me for 3-4 laps till I acknowledged, and he waved to me as he went through, and he taught me so much. But good times.
That is definitely a Dick Trickle story.
I'm telling you, he was better at that than his racing, if you can believe that.
Yeah. Mind games. It's all part of it too, right?
It was. It worked on me. There ain't no.
He's a clever guy.
Worked on me up until then, and then it was over.
Did you ever get a chance to get him back?
No. Again,
not in that way, anyways.
Not in that way. I mean, we're out in Phoenix running a race, and of course, Cup cars are on the track qualifying. Dick and I both got to the track late, so he was running the Cup at that time.
Okay.
So we're stuck on the outside of the track talking while he's supposed to be in there practicing. And we're talking about the tour race that I was running that day, and he's like, "I don't care what anybody says. You tell Howie to put left side tires on that car at some point in time." And I went in there and I told Howie, and Howie and them had won that. They won the Copper Classic, but I don't think they ever won the fall race. I said, "Man, I'm telling you what Trickle told me." And Howie put a different strategy together, a different plan together. And sometime through the course of that race, we put left side tires on, and we won that race 5 times. But we're doing the same deal.
Same strategy.
Same strategy. And, a lot of people, "Well, you don't need it, blah, blah, blah." And yeah, it was, Trickle taught me a ton. I can't, where do you start? Where do you end, right?
So he might have burned you once, but it paid off in the end.
It paid off in the end. Yeah. Yeah.
So how long did you race for Baker then?
89 and 90. And then I went to Gunderman, 91, 2, 3 and half of 94.
Okay. If, being that, you guys obviously were successful kind of right off the bat, what what moved you from Baker over to the Gunderman team?
I was just following footsteps of what everybody had done prior. I didn't know if it was the right move or wrong move. I watched Dotter do it. I watched Musgrave do it, and their success was good, and they went on into NASCAR. And
Right.
I thought, can't be a bad road, right? And I was able to talk Howie into coming down to Jerry's with me the first year.
Okay.
So it was kind of a no-brainer. The equipment Jerry gave us was so over the top. If you didn't have success, it was no fault but your own. But again, we had pretty much instant success down there as well. So, yeah, Jerry ranks right at the top of short track car owners. And I look at two short track car owners in the country, and that'd be Gunderman up in the north and James Finch down in the south. The drivers that he had, and I think between them they had like 12 or 14 Cup champions drive for him.
Yeah. James Finch, obviously a very well-known name for sure.
They had the best of the best between those two guys.
So you head on over to Gunderman. Did you accumulate an ASA championship with either one of them?
No, I never won a championship. Run second 3 times, I believe.
Okay.
Never won the championship. 3 or 4 times we run second, but never won the championship.
In those years, who was the guy that was winning them at that point?
Eddie. Well, all of them guys. Eddie.
I suppose
Seneca,
Eddie
Benson
accumulated a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie had 7, I think, championships.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was 7 or 8 or maybe. Yeah, I think that sounds 7. Yeah.
I thought he was in that 7 group, but yeah, they all took their turn at me, but me. So yeah, but when I first started that ASA deal, everybody was there.
Right.
Rusty and Allen and Trickle and they would all be at some of those races. Butch Miller, Seneca, Eddie, St. Amant. Again, the list goes on. Sawinski, list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, a lot of really, top people that, obviously either went on to NASCAR or hung around in ASA for, through the 90s and had a ton of success.
Yeah. I probably, if it wouldn't have been for Kenny Schrader wanting to start up an ASA team, I don't know as if I'd ever left Jerry. He was so good at what he did, and again, equipment was never an issue or a problem. You needed it, go get it. Didn't even have to ask. If you needed it, go get it.
Couldn't ask for a better car owner than that. It's every driver's dream is to have that.
When I left there, and this was just your average short track team, right? I think there were 7 cars and 12 engines in the shop for a short track race team. That's a pretty good deal.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to feel like a dream walking around and looking at all that at your disposal.
Yeah, it was. And we had plenty of help. Jerry never was short on the help side of it, hired whoever it took to get it done. And
yeah. So then after that is when you kind of got teamed up with Schrader was then after running with Gunderman?
Yeah, what we did with Jerry is we rented out a lot of cars.
Okay.
To, Jerry and Wayne Erickson and John McCarnes and stuff. They were always able to put deals together where we'd have second cars available to go out and rent off to different people. And we had huge success in that as well with the 2-car deal. And then Schrader just got a bug one day and says, I think I want one of these ASA teams, and asked me if I'd be interested in coming down there and putting one together for him. And Kenny too, same way. Tell me what you need, who you want for your people, and get it done. And we run the 2 years we ran ASA for him. We ran second in points both of those years.
Okay.
But just couldn't get it done.
Yeah. How did you get connected with Kenny prior to that point, just from racing against each other a little bit at some point?
Just, yeah, racing against each other, and then Jerry bringing them on as a car rental deal.
Okay, gotcha.
Again, Erickson. When ASA went road course racing, Gunderman's organization, I think there were 5 road course races, and we won every one of them. And so it opened a lot of eyes. You know, one was with Waltrip, one was with Spencer, one was with John Cadman out of Canada. I won 2 of them. It was people took note of that, of what he had going on there, and I was pretty much the guy that orchestrated the whole team and set the cars up for everybody. And
okay,
you know, I was my own shock guy for everything and setup guy. You know, I had guys there to hand me wrenches all the time, but actual setups, I did everything on every one of the cars. So when you do multiple cars, you got long days.
Yeah, absolutely. So ASA would have 5 road course races in a single season?
No.
Oh.
Through their, I think it was over 2 or 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Mid-90s-ish. They ran Topeka, Brainerd, and Mossport up in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 road course races.
Then, obviously, you know, road course racing, obviously a different kind of etiquette of racing. How did you find yourself having success? Obviously driving it, but then, you know, coming up on a setup to, you know, that you were successful with, but then other people were successful with too.
Well, the setup originated with Howie.
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
He was down there when they started that, and he put a couple things on the car that were trial and error, I would think you'd say, but worked amazing. Jerry sent me out to Bondurant right before the ASA race. Let's say it was on a Sunday or whatever. So he sent me out there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to do the road, to go through the school.
Okay. That definitely helps.
Oh, incredible. After the first day, I can't even tell you the guy's name, Bill, somebody or another, big guy out at Bondurant at the time, pulled me over, got in the car with me and said, "What are you doing?" And because evidently I was going better than I should have. And I was not a heel toe kind of, I was just steer and stomp and stabbed. And, you know, I was doing a lot of stuff.
Sure.
No clutch, this, that. And he's like, "You can't do that. You know, if you're going to be any good at this, you've got to learn how to." Well, I left there and won Topeka that weekend, and I couldn't do it. You know, I couldn't get my feet doing all that.
Sure. So they tried to get you learning the heel toe, but you, never.
By the end of the neat part was there was like 7 instructors, and the last day they closed it down to everybody, and they put myself and the 7 instructors out on. They opened up the full course from, I think it was a little over a mile to over 3 miles.
Okay.
And they said, let's go. They taught me a lesson. I taught them a few lessons, but we had a blast. And out of the 7 of them, I think I'm come in like 3rd or something.
Sure.
But close 3rd. I mean, it was fun. A lot of broken windshields from guys going off the track, throwing stones and bent fenders. And I didn't know that was allowed in that. I don't think it probably was, but we were having so much fun. Yeah, it was a good time. And they taught me a lot on, you know, picking your points and your marks and braking, and, you know, obviously as that guy does today, that Ben Ginsberg, that heel toe really works. Yeah,
he's incredible. That is no doubt.
Yeah, he is.
He definitely has something figured out that no one else does. I know he won't let any cameras be on his footwork. You know, they never.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think I'd heard that on something, and I mean, I guess I haven't tuned into every race to notice if they do or not, but to my knowledge, I don't know if they show his footwork. But I think you can find videos when he was in that V8 supercar stuff of his footwork. But he's
good.
Yeah, he's got it figured out.
Yeah.
Not the ovals yet, but I'm imagining he'll get there.
Yeah. everything takes time, right? Especially in that league. You know, you just don't go in there and beat those guys.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, especially in those new cars. And guys are talking about how different those are and stuff nowadays. And so you spent 2 years in ASA with Schrader. At what point did you get, your kind of foot in to go and race a Craftsman truck? Because obviously the Craftsman truck was, coming to light in, that 90, 94, 95 and kind of took off from there.
Yeah, we did the ASA deal in 97 and 98 for Kenny.
Okay.
And then I want to think Mike Wallace may have been his driver. And he was moving up to do something else. We were never able to put a sponsor on the car. Again, Kenny thought it would be a no-brainer, but he was just never able to put a sponsor on the car for the ASA deal. And he just said one day, how about we park this stuff and you come drive the truck? And, yeah, I'll give it a whirl. And it was a good thing, bad thing. I'll take as much blame, obviously, as anything for not doing better. First year crew chief, first year switched engine builders, which turned out to be horrible from what they had. And then my inexperience of going to all these places and radial tires and all that stuff. I'm going to distribute the blame equally amongst everybody. It wasn't one thing, but the combination of all of us being bad, it was not a good thing.
Sure. Now, up to that point, had you really thought about, hey, I want to get in a Craftsman truck at some point and try it? Or, obviously having that much success in ASA, it's, hard to want to, walk away from something like that, I'd imagine.
The trucks honestly didn't interest me. I would have loved to have gotten into some Busch Series car. I did get in a couple, actually.
Okay.
And had decent success until got wrecked or this, that, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would have liked that more than the truck. I don't want to say, like in racing, obviously, you're supposed to be on the wheel every lap, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't my style. I raced the race and let it come to me more than, I didn't have to lead every lap.
Sure.
And when you run them trucks, with those guys, all they knew was how to run into each other, move people. They had to lead. They had to, and I come from an era you didn't run into everybody. You fixed your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about any of that kind of stuff. So that's not where my makeup was in racing, was to go out there and just wreck everything you got your hands on. And
so a lot of people weren't just abiding their time and waiting to get there at the end.
No, it was wide open from the green flag to the end, and it just didn't fit my style.
Sure.
Probably a bad thing to say, that as a racer I wasn't wide open all the time, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I think those of us that spent time behind a wheel, we get what definitely understand what you're saying there for sure. Was the truck body, that aero kind of thing, was that different and kind of a learning thing
huge. Too? So aero sensitive,
and especially at that time. They were a very flat front end when they were first introduced.
I remember going to Texas and the thing was so loose and this and that, and they come in and they moved like the left front fender a quarter of an inch in or out. I don't know what they did, and I'm like, "Are you serious right now?" And a difference was made. It was crazy how the air affected those things. And again, we didn't know any of that back in the short track racing. Half the races you run without half the fender. Something.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely different when you're heading to a place like Texas. So what ended up being, I guess, best finish? What was, what were the high points of running in the truck with Kenny?
Well, I was finally able to talk Kenny into taking the engines out, and we put an old ARCA engine in that he had in the corner that he took out of one of his ARCA cars, and we run third at Nazareth or somewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
And you could drive the truck so different with horsepower than literally putting your foot on the floor and waiting for it to go. I mean, the motors were just horrendously bad. And
Okay.
back then, Kenny had to put all the money up front beginning of the year with the engine builder. So he's got it all invested. Well, now how do you can't just jump ship because he's got, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars at a motor shop for the year. So we just lived with it and got through the year. And I got to grin a little bit. The very last race was Fontana, and Schrader's like, we were nowhere in the points or whatever. He says, why don't you just let me drive the thing there and you just observe? And I'm like, at first I thought, what a jerk, one race to go and he's pulling me out of it. I don't think it was 20 laps into the race and he wrecked because the thing was so undrivable. I had to kind of giggle to myself like, there, pal. Experience what I did for a year.
Yeah.
And there was nothing said after that. It was all done and the year was over, and we actually took the All-Pro car out for one race after that and went down and won Homestead together, and that was our final race together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Neat. What was just in general, what was the experience like for you getting to race in NASCAR, be a part of NASCAR? I know, I've heard from several people that, at least the truck series at that point, still felt like, kind of like you're racing a little bit in the Midwest. Maybe not the driving styles, but just kind of like the atmosphere, I would say, of the truck series.
I didn't really experience too much with it, but I don't know what you want to call it. The way the rules, the way you had to abide by things, the
structure, and
it wasn't my big mouth got me in trouble more than it would have in a short track situation. Sure. Yeah, the way they structured everything, the way you really played by their rules.
Yeah.
You didn't get away with saying this and saying that, and it was a great experience, but I was glad when it was over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where you mentioned you got a chance to run a Busch car a couple of times. Did that kind of fall in those same years, or did that come after?
That was earlier years than that. Yeah. Kenny Wallace and Kenny Schrader had a deal with Square D that they had to run a car somewhere.
Okay.
And I ran that, and then Kenny Wallace had a Myers deal put together. I ran a car there for him, IRP, I believe it was, and I can't remember the guy's name. The 75 car, the Food Country car out of Tennessee over there by Bristol.
Okay.
I think that Kligerman ran a lot of his stuff.
Okay.
I ran a Busch car for them and a couple different places, but experience was a good time. I mean, I really enjoyed the Busch cars more so than the trucks. But I actually thought I had a full Busch deal done. Again, it was a car Johnny Benson was driving. He won the championship for him. And I went in and met with the guy and shook his hand, and he said, done deal. And later that day, Tony Raines, we were all a bunch of short track racers back then.
Yeah.
He says, hey, come on, we got to all go out and celebrate. Oh, what are you celebrating? Oh, I got the so-and-so ride. And I'm like, I just left there 2 hours ago, and the guy told me I had it. And
Really?
But
Wow.
because he had won that ASA championship is the way they looked at it. And
No kidding.
that's how he ended up with the ride. What the heck was the name of that car? Red, I can see it. I can't.
And not coming to my mind either, but yeah.
But he ended up with the deal, and that put another sour taste in my mouth. And I'm like, all right, I don't need to be down here doing this. And
yeah, I imagine that was a shock to hear it in that way.
yeah, and he had no clue. I had been there interviewing, and I tried calling the owner. After Tony had told me what was going on. Of course, the guy wouldn't take my call after that.
Yeah,
Like, come on,
imagine not.
Just tell me
terrible,
what's going on. I don't care.
Right.
I got this far in life. I'll make it.
Yeah.
So it all worked out.
Then, so kind of after some of that NASCAR stuff wasn't, with Kenny, with Schrader was done, what were you kind of looking to go back and do then? Because then you eventually returned to ASA then, right?
Yeah, I came back up and raced for Donnie and Marilyn Finetti.
Okay.
Where your uncle won the championship.
Yeah.
Ran 2 years for them. The biggest problem I had when I went down south by Schrader, I took so many good people down there. I like a handful. And when I came back, obviously those people wanted to stay in the NASCAR world, which I do not blame at all. So Craig Smokestead came back with me, and we did the best we could do for what we had. Donnie was a little, to say the least, uneasy to work for. I'm sure Brian can give you a few ins and outs about that.
Sure.
But yeah, we did the best we had, and Craig had a chance to go back down south, and gave him my blessings to do it. That's what it was all about, was to get him down there. And I was just not going to be somebody on the track. If I couldn't win, I didn't want to be there. And
yeah,
I had no desire. And I think I only won one race in 2001. And I don't even think it was an ASA race. It was a all-pro or something at the mile.
Okay.
So I won my first big race at the mile, and I won my last race at the mile. And so that's
kind of cool. Yeah.
Capped it off pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely tough to come back, and if you don't have that that solid crew around you, that's definitely tough to continue on that success. But I mean, it's got to be awesome for a lot of those guys if you were able to get them down there and they were to kind of able to further themselves some opportunities.
Oh, I think it was. I think a lot of them, and they're still there today.
Okay.
Really enjoyed the fact that they got an opportunity to do it. And when I came back, being my own setup guy for years, that's when they had just switched over to that soft spring, big bar, put it on the ground type thing. Bump stopped, and I knew zero of that, and I never, that 1 year being gone to the truck series, it kind of was changing over to that in the short track world. Well, when I came back, I was a fish out of water with that stuff. And again, we tried, but they were on that radial tire, that general tire, I believe it was.
Okay.
So that combination just was not. We won a couple of races, but nothing, not the way I wanted to be. I just felt I was filling the field for them, and I didn't need to be going down that road.
Yeah. When you're used to running really good, it's definitely not the spot where you want to end up finding yourself.
And it's all about the people.
Right.
You're buying the wheel of one of these. You know what it takes.
Yeah. So 2001 ends up being your last win. Was that your last year of racing in general? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hung it up, and I tried to. I had a guy call me out of Kingsport, Tennessee, wanted me to start up an ASA team for him. And I went and met with him, and I says, who's the driver? Who's this? Who's that? And I ended up doing the deal with him. And he thought, because he was spending some money, that he was going to get out there and win. Well, turns out the kid, and I love the kid to death, Ian Hoffman, he was more paranoid of me being his crew chief that he couldn't, focus on driving at hand. He never felt he was filling my expectations, and he was over trying
Sure.
and this and that. And halfway through the year, Bob was like, "What's going on here? What's going?" And I'm like, "Hey, you can spend all you want. If you don't have the right people in the right places, it ain't gonna happen." And
Certainly.
he didn't believe that, and he says, "Well, I think we need to part ways." And I'm like, "I'm okay with that." And I came back up, and I think I started driving truck for an old sponsor of ours, TTI Trucking.
Okay.
Billy Timlin and the Timlin family. I drove one of their trucks for a little while, and I thought, these guys are successful. Gunnerman was successful. Finetti was successful. All these trucking deals. I think I'm going to give this a whirl. And I started a trucking company, and
Okay.
that was my next challenge in life.
Gotcha. Now, the one thing, obviously, having spent all those years in ASA, and then I got to, as a spectator, have memories of my uncle kind of at the very end of ASA getting to run an ASA, and then those final years that the series was around, at that original time. And I had always, and whether it was from him or other people, I'd always heard so many people talk so highly about that ASA series and that they did, a lot of things right. Would you kind of agree that the ASA through those times did a lot, did a lot of great things, and what did they do that made it such a great series for people to stay in and also be a stepping stone for a lot of people?
I can go back and I can grab 25 guys from that era, and each and every one of us will tell you we don't know how good we had it.
Sure.
John McCarnes, Rex Robbins, the All-Pro Bob Harmon. Those guys were so on top of their game with the way they promoted themselves, the series, the drivers, the plans you were on, to, like you said, to keep you there, keep you going. There will never be that, in my opinion. I know Greg and them guys are trying hard, but they got some really big shoes to fill. If they can do half as good as what their fathers and mentors did, they're going somewhere, because we had it all going in every direction. And I love the way Greg has got his deal going. Johnny Wood's got that truck thing going.
Yeah.
They're working hard at it. Trust me. They're working at Bob Sargent with it, ASA Tours. They are all working really, really hard at it. My opinion, the cars have outpriced the series. There's just too much money being spent on these cars to go out and race kind of the same money we did back in the day, when you put all the sponsor contingencies and everything into it. There's no reason you should be spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for one shock absorber. Not a million years. No. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just, they have outpriced. If they could bring that car back down to $70,000, $80,000 car instead of a $130,000 car,
Right.
I think the interest could be back. But you don't have that old money out there like we did back when we were doing it.
Yeah, and obviously the 90s, I think, and even earlier than too, just the general popularity of racing, obviously that helps everything.
We could take our ASA car to an Artco race, to an All-Pro race, to a Hooters Cup race, to a Southwest Tour race. The same car. We ran in every one of those divisions. We ran all 5 of the major series one year, and that's where it really was a lot of fun. You didn't race against the same 30, 40 guys. You ran against 30, 40, 50 guys in every series.
Sure.
So we learned so much doing that one year. We were able to win a race in every one of the series. The travel, the seeing the way things are done. Gunderman's deal, like, again, in a sense, was light years ahead of most, with the foresight he had, and go where you got to go, get the experience you need to have. And, but yeah, I just think if there was a way they could cut those cars back $50,000 in price, you would get more cars, which would bring more people, which would bring, the fans back to it. My opinion.
Yeah, no, I definitely, you're definitely not wrong in that. I think there's a whole heck of a lot of us that would love to see the prices of it all come down. And, because, I think one of the things, you were talking about that's huge is you were able to take that same car and go and do all those different things. And that's not, that feasibility just isn't out there in a lot of things. I mean, you don't have to change, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a ton, but there's enough things that got to change for people to start traveling a little bit all over. But
I heard just they would make such issues over 2-barrel to 4-barrel from one series to the next.
Yeah.
We're not running a 2-barrel. We preferred 2-barrels at half the tracks we went to back in the day. The car was so much easier to drive on certain racetracks that wore out tires and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it was just, if there's any way humanly possible to get these back to where you could run that same car in multiple deals, whether the promoters can ever put something like that together, I don't know, but
yeah, there's a lot of turmoil over just the 2-barrel, 4-barrel thing.
Yeah.
A lot.
Why? So what? That 50 pounds or 100 pounds or. Yeah, no, that's they're way barking up the wrong tree for what it's going to take to bring it back together.
Yeah, and one of the things too, when you think about as advanced as certain setups are and things, with you getting a car set up to go and race, when cars get more expensive and people only have one, and I've only ever had one at my disposal. Well, if you want to go and race somewhere on a Friday and you want to race somewhere on a Saturday, it takes a little bit to turn that car over. And if you can have someone can have a second one to, make that a little bit easier for them, and they can sleep another hour or two. It makes a big deal for everybody.
Kind of that. More you have, more work you have too, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been on that side of it, so
yeah.
I don't know. The whole sport treated me so wonderful from start to finish. I wouldn't rewrite one page in the book.
Yeah, and if that's the way you can look at it when you're all said and done, that's exactly where you want to be.
Yeah.
Now I see, we became Facebook friends not too long ago. I see you kind of running around doing a little stuff with Kenny Schrader in the Federated Auto Parts. What have you been doing with that? And I know our friend Joe Miller goes and tags along too sometimes.
Kenny, greatest guy. If you ever want to meet a great guy, Kenny Schrader's the guy to meet, because he is funny, he's serious, he's just a great all-around guy to be around. And he's been with Federated. I think they're the longest driver sponsor together going, 23, 5, 7 years.
Okay, it's been a long time, that's for sure.
Long time. And J.R. Bishop, who runs that Federated program, another great guy. And just being around those people is uplifting, if you want to say.
Sure.
It's an experience. It's a party. It's fun. It's everything. You meet so many good people. It's a driving ride-along program that we do for Federated through Kenny. You get to drive the car, then you get done driving it, and you get out and you ride with Kenny a few laps. And this is, I think, my 4th year I was with them, maybe 5th. other than the guys that have wrecked the cars, I've not seen nothing but smiles on people's faces.
Sure, I'd imagine that. Yeah.
They do it, and they do it really right.
What I mean, obviously it's on dirt, but I'll see the trailer and it's just there's like several cars that you guys are taking. What, and some of them look different. What kind of types of dirt cars are they?
We run the same car on dirt and asphalt.
Okay.
All we do is change the air pressure.
Okay.
Otherwise, we do both. More dirt than asphalt, but yeah, Joe and I pull that trailer with the 5 cars on it.
Yeah. Okay.
3 of them are the driving cars. 2 of those are the ride-along cars. So
Okay.
we take spares, and then the other truck and trailer has got the race stuff in it, toolbox and race cars, because Kenny runs a race or 2 while we go out and do these things. So I think we just got back from a 12-day trip, the last one.
Okay.
So they're done now for the year. Probably start over again in March or April. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm going to cut back on that a little bit. Our summers, as you know, up here aren't real long. So you do 5 of those, which are pretty much spring to fall. I miss out on a lot around here. So
Sure.
I want to try and get back and take in a little bit more around here. Really, really enjoy going to a lot of the race drives. Oktoberfest here a few weeks back for first time in probably 20 years.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
And just had a blast.
Cool.
Had a blast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like going, and we're going to Nashville next weekend, and then down to the Bigley race.
Okay.
And then over to the Derby, Snowball Derby, watch that. So just really enjoy going around and seeing the people.
Yeah. Do you, whether it's up here or down in south in Florida, do you make your way to many races to kind of stay up on things and watch?
If there's something going on, we're there.
Okay.
We're more in the grandstands, cooler side, than we are in the pits doing anything.
Cooler side, yeah.
Yeah, that's Boris Yurkovich is going to run Nashville, and he asked if I'd be around. So I may end up spotting for him this week at Nashville, but
okay,
that's as close as I really want to get. So
gotcha.
To the work side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go, we get in the pits, we hang out, and when the race comes, we enjoy it.
That's cool. That's good. Just kind of a couple questions, just kind of back on your racing times back in racing. What was, if you had to pick a race that was or an accomplishment in general that was your favorite throughout your race career, what would you say it was?
Well, obviously winning at Milwaukee right off the bat was pretty big. But Anderson Speedway was a fun racetrack to go to. And we got wrecked on the opening lap, got a couple laps down, and came back to win it. That was a pretty big day.
Would that have been the Redbud?
The Redbud 400 or whatever they call it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we won that 3 different times. But yeah, that was, to come from that far back on a small bull ring, was quite a day. But
that's a quarter mile, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of fun. But I don't know. They're all good. I mean, whenever you won, it was a success, right? It was a good time. So, yeah, I guess even some of them you didn't win that you could finish second, third, fourth. I'm going to take that back. I guess my biggest meaningful win, Cedar Rapids, 97, 98, 3 wide. I won it going backwards across the start-finish line. The top 3 of us wrecked, coming for the checkered, and I ended up winning it. That was big. That was a big day.
Car get tore up pretty good, or just go backwards a little bit?
No, it backwards into the wall, and it jumped off the quarter-mile track and bent the ball joints in the A-frames and knocked the bumper cover off. It was big. It It was a good time. We had a blast. Yeah. Mike Miller and Steve Carlson?
Okay.
I want to think. Yeah. A lot of fun.
3 Wisconsin guys battling for it. And
yeah. Going to see Mike Miller after Nashville.
Okay.
Go down there and hang out with him a few days. And
sure. I think I know he came up now, I think it was like 2018. My grandpa got in a vintage car that Johnny Gilbertson and some guys have that was painted up as a replica of him, and he got in there, and Mike Miller came up here for when my grandpa got in there and did that. And I had met Mike a couple times prior to that too, but yeah, wonderful guy too. I enjoyed talking to him a lot.
Yeah, that's what I enjoy the most now is just going out, and too many of us falling by the wayside here, so got to see who we can see.
Right.
While we can, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and along the ways, that's those relationships and those friends. They talk about the racing. We all talk about the racing family, and it's definitely the part that outside the race car makes it fun.
Yeah, we go to the Snowball Derby. We run into no less than 40, 50 of the guys we associated with, crew members, drivers. That is like a big reunion. Friday down there is where everybody just goes around and sees everybody, and
sure,
yeah, a lot of fun down there.
I'll be heading to Florida soon, but it's going to be to go to Disneyland, so it's it won't be a snowball derby.
Sorry about your luck. No, you'll have fun.
Kids want to see Mickey and Minnie Mouse, so we'll get them down there.
Do it while you can.
Right.
That's what I'm telling you.
Gosh. Yeah. So other than going down to the Derby, anything huge that you're really looking forward to? Anything that you're busy tinkering around with outside on your own now?
No, just this next trip will be big. It's going to be close to 40 days. I'm thinking that we'll be gone. So
sure,
just get down and go to the beach a few days, and go to the races a few days, and enjoy it. We rented a house down there, and just a group of us, and just camaraderie, have some fun.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you coming today, and I hope that's a good, successful, safe trip for you, and have a great time. And yeah, like I said, it's been awesome learning so much about your racing career. And I've heard about you, through many stories from different people, and
they're not all true.
No, depends where they come from, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially Joe.
Yeah. Joe, I know you're out there listening. So Joe said he'll after he listened to my uncle's episode, he said I could probably get him on. So I'm gonna maybe get a couch or something. We'll get my uncle here at the same time.
Most of his stories you'll have to edit pretty good.
We don't edit anything around here, so it's all authentic. We won't talk about politics or anything like that.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it again, and we'll see you around.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you for listening in to Speed and Grease. If you're a returning listener, I appreciate you tuning into another episode. And if it was your first time tuning into the show, I hope you enjoyed it and want to keep coming back for more. And if you haven't already, make sure you head on over to Facebook, Instagram, like and follow us on one of those platforms wherever you prefer, even on X as well. And if you watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, make sure you head on over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel there to stay up to date on everything. And also, if you want, give us a rating and review over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts as well. Thank you again for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next one.